We begin the news at this hour in West Africa, where Nigeria President Bola Tinubu on Wednesday rang the closing bell of the NASDAQ stock market. The closing bell ceremony, held at the NASDAQ headquarters in New York, signifies the end of a trading session. The move is also part of President Bola Tinubu's commitment towards attracting foreign direct investments on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly. The Nigerian Exchange Group aims to foster dialogue, strengthen economic ties, and enhance collaboration.
I am happy to bring Nigeria to your doorsteps and honored that we are here today with a bubbling market that will evolve West Africa's sub-region. The greatest economy is Nigeria. There's an immense opportunity in Nigeria that you can invest your money without fear. We've removed a lot of bottlenecks. We've cleared the oil subsidy that is corrupt, and we have also retooled the exchange rate to a reliable, dependable, one-figure floating of the exchange naira. You are free to take in your money and bring out your money. I count on you to invest in Nigeria.
And that's President Bola Tinubu of Nigeria talking about what he has done in terms of economic measures in his country. And now I'm being joined by Rasheed Abubakar, who is an international multimedia journalist, and he will be talking to us more about this. Thank you so much, Abubakar, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Well, you must have listened to what President Bola Tinubu said there, talking about his administration removing bottlenecks that could be a clog in the wheel of economic progress in the country. Now, with him having to ring the bell, his body language and the speech he gave at the NASDAQ Stock Exchange, what do you think that means for Nigeria in terms of direct foreign investments and investors having to bring their funds into the country? And of course, the trajectory that he's hoping to achieve with the economic growth and plan that he has for his country.
Yeah, thank you for that brilliant, question, and thank you for having me. Listen, that is very significant for Nigeria. President Tinubu genuinely asking investors to come into Nigeria with their investment, and also assuring them that their investment, there will be no bottleneck for them to take out their returns. That is what any business, men want to hear from the government. That is the least a government could offer the private sector. Assurance that there won't be any problem. Let's talk about why Emirates stopped flying into Nigeria. It was because they have this huge sum of amount of money that they're trying to take out of Nigeria, and there are so many issues here and there, bureaucratic, bottlenecks problems, that was preventing them from getting out their returns from Nigeria. That was the cause of Emirates from, saying that, okay, for now, we are suspending our service to Nigeria, and many other private companies that have left the shore of the country. So President Tinubu, aside from ringing the closing bell yesterday, because I was there also to witness the great event, apart from ringing the closing bell at NASDAQ, which was very, very significant. That was huge for Nigeria and the business community. He also held a high-level dialogue with business, private companies and business community in America. Different CEOs from many companies, tech companies, and other sector, were there present to listen to President Tinubu and his team on what they have to offer, to them coming into Nigeria. And he was let me give you some three major takeaways from yesterday's President Tinubu's engagement. He genuinely called for partnership with Nigeria as a country, and also while canvassing genuine partnership from private sector and investors for Nigeria, he was also advocating for Africa's development. And also, he also highlighted the consequences of broken promises, right, and unfair treatment in business dealing, and also exploitation.
Abdul Rasheed,
the last one, which I would like to talk about real quickly before you come in, was the fact that he declared during the high-level dialogue, business dialogue yesterday, that Nigeria is open for business. That is the key message. If you listen to his message at the United Nations General Assembly, he said Nigeria is open to welcome, partnership, genuine partnership. That was his key message.
All right, Abdul Rasheed,
yes.
I would at this time love to bring in Mukhtar Mohammed, who is also the CEO at Shared Dynamics Solutions, to also shed more light on this. Abdul Rasheed, just stay with me for a while. Mukhtar, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Lekan.
All right, so you would have heard what President Bola Tinubu said at the NASDAQ stock markets rather, and the fact that he is using the opportunity to woo investors and to see how economic benefits and drive can come to the country. So what are some of the specific economic indicators or metrics that you would use to measure these efforts that has been brought to bear by President Bola Tinubu? Hello, Mukhtar. All right, we'll try to see how to bring Mukhtar back online. But then let me just push it back to Abdul Rasheed. Of course, you've talked about a couple of things that the president has said and how he hopes to drive in investments into the country. But then we'd like to look at the parameters. What are the yardsticks by which we can use to measure? Because it's not just only talk. It's about the areas by which President Bola Tinubu will be able to translate these expected foreign investments into economic benefits for Nigeria. So what are the areas you would use as parameter to judge its performance after this, of course, begins to trickle in?
Well, before we judge, right? Let us critically look at this, his activities and engagement with private sector in India, in the United States, and harmonize this engagement. That is President Tinubu's engagement that is calling private entities to come and invest in Nigeria. That is laying the foundation, solid foundation for them, right? Now, the metrics that I will use, moving forward to judge is that now when yesterday we have some private sector like PepsiCo was, assuring the president of PepsiCo was there at the high-level business dialogue that, look, we are ready to partner with Nigeria and we are ready to come and invest and also, support young people in Nigeria to thrive. That is the PepsiCo president assuring the president yesterday. So the Nigeria trade minister was also there. She also assured PepsiCo's president that she will be willing to further that memorandum of understanding to engaging in discussion to further solidify the talk. So President Tinubu and his team, the way I see the body language at the high-level dialogue yesterday, they are ready to walk the talk. So, and we are going to continue to monitor them and also to, eventually critically assess this, their engagement and the success that will follow afterwards.
Now, I'd like to also find out from you, are there any potential risks or challenges associated with what the president has said in tandem with the economic measures that he has brought into place. We talk about the fuel subsidy. We talk about the floating of the naira, the appointment of Olayemi Cardoso as the new CBN governor, his economic team, and all other economic measures that we are hoping for. Of course, we could say that it has not really begun to spring up the kind of effects that we need in the country. And those are the things that investors will be looking at before they decide to bring in their funds to invest, of course, even in the Nigerian bourse too. So how would you also say that these measures will help attract these foreign investors, or it might just push them away if they're not seeing the real indicators that would woo them into the country?
So the risk factors, the president already addressed that. He said the bottlenecks will be taken away, so Nigeria will be, a place that will be ease access to do business for the people. So look, the government, the primary duty of any government is to make good policies. Okay? So the implementation that follows that good policy, in many cases, if you come to the West, you will see that private sector drives the economy. Okay. Yesterday, look at it from this angle. Yesterday, we have the likes of Rabiu Boa at the high level business dialogue. We have Tony Elumelu. We have, and so many other. We have Signature Global Real Estate president and chairman. We have so many other private businessmen in the room with American counterparts. Okay, so when the president and the president made a very brilliant statement at the high level. He said, the central bank of yesterday is gone. The central bank of today is a central bank of innovation for Nigeria and the business community and investors that are coming into Nigeria all around the world. So that is what private investors, private, people, that is what they want to hear. They are not, they're not expecting you to do the work for them. They're just expecting you as a government to give them the platform, the opportunity to thrive in the system. Once the opportunity is presented, it's left for them to leverage on that opportunity that has been presented to them. Come into the country without no fear of business is risk. And I don't see any risk in this, in coming to invest in Nigeria, because as part of what the president also mentioned yesterday was that Nigeria is the only country in Africa where you can get out your investment return 1,000, percent interest.
Yes, so at this point, Rasheed, let's now tie it to what significance it holds for the African continent, because we see that the president used the occasion to speak for the economic liberation of Africa. So how does Nigeria's economic stability that everyone is hoping for and regulatory environment compare and would help influence economic growth for Africa, most especially Nigeria being a vanguard for economic prosperity?
You're right. Like when I was highlighting the three key takeaway from the high level business dialogue yesterday, I told you, I said the president also, canvassed for Africa's development, rather than, people coming to exploit, Africa, or and Africans. So yes, very President Tinubu, no, you may not like him, you don't have to like him, but his governance style is in the right trajectory, and if he continue to follow this path as an independent citizen, I believe and I think it's putting the right hole in the right place.
Okay.
So I want to believe that it's also going to help African economy as well, because when you convert for your home country, you have to also look at other country that surrounds, your country, your territory.
Okay.
So that is why President Tinubu was very concerned with the coup in Niger. When he, said we have to return, the military have to return the power back to to civilian with immediate effect.
Okay.
So you can see how forceful he was, during that time. Then people came in and said, look, let's talk it out, let's talk it through. It's not by war, it's through diplomacy.
Yeah,
and he listened.
Yeah.
He listened, and he said, let's follow through diplomacy and see how far that can take us. So he's trying to stabilize that region, which is the West Africa. Then you go to Central Africa. So he's speaking for Africa.
Okay, Rasheed, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I will hope that these efforts will translate into economic benefits for the region. Rasheed, it's nice to have had this session with you.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.